I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch network, and as the midterm elections approach, I'm back with what I've called the most important series of videos that we have done here at the MeidasTouch network. So I need you to watch until the very end of this video, and after you're done watching, I need you to comment and share your stories, and to also share this video with everybody you know before the midterms. In this series of videos, we point out the Republicans and independents who have left the MAGA Republican Party's extremism. People who used to either identify as Republicans or who would vote Republican and Democrat depending on the election, but who have now left the MAGA Republican Party because of their extremism, pro-fascism, weirdness, cult behavior. Whatever your issue is, we want to hear what it was that made you leave that party and vote for pro-democracy, to vote blue. Share your story. Share the story of anybody you know who fled and left this MAGA Republican Party, whether it's a coworker, a neighbor, a family member. Make sure to share this video with everybody you know and share your story below. This is part 7 of our series of Republicans and independents making the mass exodus from the MAGA extremist party. And as you know, it all started with a single tweet that we put out on the MeidasTouch Twitter account. And here is what we said. Normal Republicans are being pushed out of the GOP in droves. They are being labeled rhinos and traitors by a fascist MAGA movement that bears no relation to conservatism. Many of these Republicans will be voting blue. Do you have a similar story? Share it with us. We got tens and thousands of responses, so much so we did a YouTube video about it, part 1. We then did a part 2, a part 3, a part 4, a part 5, a part 6, and now a part 7, because we received tens of thousands of comments and millions of views in the aggregate. And so we said we need to keep this going. We need to share these stories, and we need to let people know who are leaving the MAGA extremist party that there is a compassionate, pro-democracy community of people who love our country, who are exhausted by the hate and the extremism, who want our democracy to remain in place, who want our institutions to remain in place, who want to go about our lives with normalcy and none of this radical extremist cult behavior, none of that. So let me go and read for you some of the comments that we got on our last video, because these are incredible stories I want to share with you. Charles Moore wrote, I've been a registered Republican since Reagan, but Trump was where I drew the line. I thought my party would reject him, but instead they embraced him and his hateful rhetoric. I will be voting straight blue this November. Thanks, Charles, for sharing that. Thu Bay writes, I was a Republican for 36 years, 1980 to 2016. No longer a Republican when Donnie selected for presidential candidate in 2016. Thanks for sharing. William Sukalis writes, since January 6th, I changed my party to Democrat. I will never vote for any Republican for anything. Thanks for sharing, Will. Sunday Chamberlain writes, I have a 96-year-old aunt. She has always been a Republican, but she has voted for Democrats for president since Trump ran. She's from New York and knew what a con man Trump has always been. It's always very funny to hear her cuss out Trump and the idiots that support him. Thanks, Sunday. Tuffy Moon writes, I live in a red state and have also split my votes over many years of voting. This year, I voted early and straight down the Democratic ticket. This is the first time I ever voted that way. When you have an ex-president who is a party leader and spouts lies and conspiracy theories, and anyone who dares speak out becomes a target of his Q Trump cult, it was obvious that voting blue is the only way to try to defeat the insanity of what is now the Republican Party. Well said, Tuffy. Vicky Johnson writes, my 85-year-old former neighbor was a lifelong Republican, and during the Trump presidency, we talked about his views versus those of the Trump policies. In 2020, this very conservative Mormon elder voted blue for the first time and says he will continue to do so until the MAGA influence is gone from our country. Thanks, Vicky. Christina Frascona writes, I'm a MeidasTouch conservative, still registered as a Republican, voting straight down party line Dem. I no longer trust the GOP. Freedom first. Thank you for being here for the nation. Thanks, Christina. The Pennsylvanian Celt writes, I am a lifelong Democrat, but up until the MAGA movement, I would frequently divide my ticket. Never again. I so appreciate your work on behalf of this beloved nation. Enlighten them one person at a time. Give them a safe place to land, to learn, and to change. It's hard to forgive them after what our country has been forced to endure, but it's the proper thing to do. Every one of us have made mistakes and have been guilty of making poor decisions. Don't get me wrong, I have a seething anger raging inside me for what these fascists have foisted upon us and continue to attempt to do to my country. Yes, I said it. It is my country too. That said, I'm going to make every effort to put my best foot forward to be an adult in the room. Thank you, MeidasTouch. I think that is so well said, the Pennsylvanian Celt. It is important that we provide a safe space as well for people who want to leave the MAGA cult and to recognize that there is this much larger community out there of pro-democracy people, an exhausted majority who just wants to go about our day devoid of the craziness and extremist and weird cult stuff that Trump does and the weird pro-Putin and Kim Jong-un stuff. Enough of that. I just want to have our normal country back. Nene J writes, I was a lifelong Republican, but changed to an independent as soon as they allowed me to after the 2020 election. I had voted for Democrats a few times, like Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, but I never thought I would need to change my political affiliation. I didn't leave my party. My party moved away too far right for me. But I have become more progressive as I have gotten older. Thanks for sharing. Next person, gullible, greedy, ignorant, and indifferent. What a funny name, writes, I have a neighbor who has struggled to explain the chaos and indifference of his party, whilst he continued to hope for his party to come back to earth. Fair. However, yesterday, after I asked him if he had heard what happened to Paul Pelosi, he said that was his final straw. He said, I'm the same age as Mr. Pelosi, and if that can happen to him, then I and others are not safe. I'm done. The violence of January 6th had him angry, but still thinking it was more of an outlier. No more. His wife and he are voting blue for the first time in 40 years. Don. Thanks, Don, for sharing that. And that's an incredible story right there. And that's something we talk a lot about here at the MeidasTouch Network, is that first they may come for this group, then they come for this group, but ultimately the MAGA extremists will come for you. And they will come for themselves. They will cannibalize themselves. They grift off themselves. They cannibalize themselves because they are fueled by hate. They are not fueled by compassion and love for our country. They are fueled to hate the other and to demonize other people. It's why anyone who doesn't follow the cult doctrine, they label as a rhino. If you believe it is wrong to steal top secret nuclear records, you are a rhino. If you believe it is wrong to have an insurrection where you attempt to kill police officers and attack the Capitol building and spread feces all over the room and to pee on the floor and all these disgusting things, if you say that is wrong, that now in the MAGA Republican Party makes you a rhino. As long as you don't, you have to pledge allegiance to Trump. And if you don't pledge allegiance to him, then they call you a rhino. And I want to read this last one from Vicky as well. I'm a disabled veteran who has voted both Republican and Democrat during my lifetime, depending upon who I thought would run the country in keeping with my beliefs. However, even before Trump, I saw the writing on the wall and changed my views, realizing that the Democratic Party was the only one who cares about the American people. Trump and his MAGA supporters have only cemented the wisdom of my decision. Thank you for sharing that, Vicky. And there you have it. There were a ton of other comments. I'm sorry if I didn't get the opportunity to read yours, but please make sure to share your stories here. You can share this video as well and these comments with people who you know who may be on the fence. And if they are on the fence, what I ask you to do, as difficult as it may be, is to be compassionate, is to let these individuals know about the much larger pro-democracy community out there, that there is a large group of Americans, far bigger than the small echo chamber of hate that is MAGA extremism. And in this larger, exhausted majority, we absolutely love our country, and we just want to figure out solutions to help people. We want to figure out how to lower prescription drug prices and make healthcare as accessible as it can possibly be to all. We don't want to abolish Medicare and Social Security. We want to make sure that Medicare and Social Security remain in place and stronger than ever. We want to make sure our troops who are returning from overseas get the health care that they absolutely deserve, and where Republicans fist bump each other and celebrate when they tried to deny our veterans health care for exposure to toxic burn pits. We're out there fighting for how can we make sure our veterans get the best health care that they deserve. We're out here fighting for the rights of workers. We don't just believe in a living wage. We believe in a wage of dignity so that workers don't have to worry about living paycheck to paycheck, that they can afford to buy a home and support their family, and fighting to make sure working conditions are as people deserve and with complete dignity. That is what we are fighting for here at the Democratic Party. We believe in free and fair elections. We believe in supporting our true allies abroad and supporting NATO, not supporting authoritarians and not kissing Kim Jong-un's ass and Vladimir Putin's ass and making America a satellite of Putin and Russia. I mean, how pathetic is that? We believe in America, a real, true, proud, pro-democracy America. We believe in the freedoms of women over their bodily autonomy, and it's not men who are making decisions for them and arresting them and controlling women's bodies. We do not believe in any of that. We believe in a woman's freedom over her body. We believe that people should love who they want to love, that it's not the government's role in any way to intervene or interfere. People should have all of their rights and be treated with dignity in this country. We're not spreading hate. We're not spreading xenophobia. We are coming up with solutions. We believe in science. We believe in bringing more jobs here. We believe in bringing manufacturing here in the United States. If there are issues like with the semiconductor industry, we believe in passing sweeping legislation to make sure we bring semiconductor industries to our shores so that things are made in America and we create jobs here, not offshore jobs like these Republicans want to do and give all of these tax loopholes to billionaires. That is their only policy that they have. And we believe that we should focus on workers and the middle class and have middle up economics, not trickle down economics. We don't believe that the way you solve every problem, this is the Republicans' view. If there's a problem, we just give the richest people the most tax cuts and the most benefits and bail out billionaires. They're the ones who need the most benefits. We're out here fighting for the rest of Americans, the 99.9% of other Americans out there who don't have private jets, who don't have yachts. By the way, in this country, you should be able to, if you succeed, that is great. But when we need to help our economy, the first instinct is, how do we help people in this country who are working to make our country work? Not how can we ensure that the billionaire has 5 yachts or 10 yachts instead of 1 or 2. I think that's at a very bare minimum, a fair approach to how we think through these issues. I think all of that is accurate. And we're not trying to shut down private businesses the way MAGA Republicans are, because businesses want to make sure that they have equality within their hiring processes, that they respect differences of opinions, that they respect LGBTQ plus community, that they're not discriminating against people on the basis of LGBTQ plus or race. And that, what do the MAGA Republicans want to do? They want to shut businesses down that do that. And we want to here take pandemic seriously. At the very least, we want to treat it and address it like it's a real threat, and not treat it like it's some fake thing like the MAGA Republicans want to pretend even to this day that it's not even a real thing. I mean, how horrific can you be to not take a global pandemic seriously? And going back to that comment about Nancy Pelosi's husband, when they were subject to a home invasion, and when Paul Pelosi was the victim of an attempted homicide, and the intended target being Nancy Pelosi, what was the right-wing MAGA extremist first instinct there? To spread a conspiracy about it, to make up a set of facts that was completely false, to spread the conspiracy through their echo chamber, to not condemn the violence in a very basic, nonpartisan way. It was to spread this conspiracy and spread further hate. Trump on his social media platform posted QAnon photos of himself in the immediate aftermath of the attempted murder of the Speaker of the House and assault of her husband that left him in the ICU. Trump posted memes of himself holding guns and pretending to be the Terminator, in addition to posting QAnon memes. I mean, how bizarre and hateful can you be? And to that point, in that comment, yes, they are coming for you. And that's not fear mongering. That is just the reality based on the objective evidence. And it's so sad that I have to say that and talk about that. But I look forward to the day where we can have normal political discourse again and debate issues. I'm a Democrat because the Democrats are the only pro-democracy major political party in this country right now. They're the only political party with adults in the room who are addressing problems. Do I agree with the way Democrats address every single problem? No, you're not supposed to. It doesn't have to be a perfect 100%, but I know that they are dealing with the problems, that they support our democracy, and they are trying, versus whatever the hell this is with these MAGA Republican extremists who want to fashion an authoritarian dystopian world for us. I can't tolerate that. And so I look forward to the day where there's legitimate political discourse between political parties. That doesn't exist today with this MAGA Republican fascist extremist movement. You need to reject it. You need to reach out right now to anybody you can who you think could vote blue. Make sure they vote blue. You can share your stories here too about that. So look, in addition to, if you fit the category of people who have left the Republican Party, the MAGA Republican Party, or you know someone, leave comments as well, but also share your stories below of registering first-time voters or inspiring young people to vote or people who weren't going to vote. Tell your stories and share how you did it. And then in the comments to some of those comments and replies, let's get a conversation started about what we can do from now until Tuesday, whatever you can do to get people to vote. Let's make this comment section light up with all of these great ideas and conversations. So now I'm putting it on you in your great hands. I so appreciate you watching this video. Hit the subscribe button right now as well. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers thanks to you. So please hit the subscribe button. And in addition, if you want to support independent media like this, please check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Become a patron of MeidasTouch. There's different memberships at patreon.com/MeidasTouch with exclusive content, including behind the scenes footage, Q&As, exclusive podcasts, and much, much more. But most importantly, you can help grow this independent media platform. We are not funded by any outsiders at all. No billionaires or millionaires who fund the both side-ism media or the pro-fascism media. We are only fueled by you and your generosity. So no matter where you are in the world, if you can help out, please, please, please. I ask for your generosity here to help build this platform together. Go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch. No worries if you can't, but it does go a long way. And when you ask, what can you do? That could be super helpful. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
This November is Rovember. MeidasTouch just released its brand new collection of Rovember t-shirts and pins to let the country know what's at stake this upcoming midterm election. Go to store.MeidasTouch.com to grab yours. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.